Need to write something in the Discord real quick. I knew I forgot something. Let me just quickly get the link here. Sorry, I'm setting it up. I'll see when the first people start to join. Okay. Okay, there we are. Mind B, welcome. Welcome. How are you doing? YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, your viewers will experience buffering. That's strange that it's already giving me that. I'm experimenting with something new today. A few different things. I want to chat a little bit at the beginning of the stream and just do some full screen chatting. I'm just going to get myself a drink. Now that I have the Stream Deck, I want to use it more and switch a little bit more between like full screen me and DAW me, because that way it looks nicer when I'm editing it. So the first thing that I should talk about is probably the new encoding that I'm using. Let me just quickly open up like a resource here. Wikipedia. I become brighter when I do that. Do you see how I'm like brighter now? I'll close it out for now so that I can like film something or something like that. I'm finding you. I'm doing well. As I said, I'm using a new encoder just to check out like if that makes a big difference, because I've had so many connectivity issues and so many internet issues, and just the quality of the stream was never really the best. I wanted to try out a new codec, a little bit more of an improved codec. So if I do like this, you guys can see. So this is it. This is like a newer version of the codec. I don't really want to talk too much about the technicalities because I don't really know this part. But essentially it means that with half the bitrate, or with the quality that you have, you need half the bitrate. And I was always at 4000 megabits per second, which really isn't enough for like 1080p. So I decided to install this codec over here, which is something that YouTube accepts. And this is a little bit like a higher quality. So we'll see how that works. I also changed my audio setup a little bit, so my microphone should sound a little bit better. And then we should also have 720p as opposed to 1080p, just to try out if that maybe also helps with just upping the streaming quality. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but when you're in 1080p, you need much more data to send to the streaming servers for it to look nice. And I know it has a little bit of influence on like the clarity of the interface, but I want to see if having a lower quality with a relatively higher bitrate is going to be better than having a higher quality with a relatively low bitrate. Because you can sometimes see that when it comes to my stream, some stuff like kind of tears in and stuff like that. Like if I open it up now. Sorry, I'm messing around a lot. I'm trying to make this look good in the video that is going to come out of this as well. But if I look at this now, over here, for example, you can see that the interface opens up. And usually in the stream that would cause like significant like glitches appearing when that happened, because there was a big change in what the stream had to display and it didn't have enough bitrate to actually do that like smoothly. So that is one of the changes that I want to make. There's a lot more changes that I want to make. And I've again done a post about it. I like to do this just every once in a while. It doesn't get a lot of traction, this kind of stuff, but as you can see here, Every few months, I just reevaluate and I see what I can improve on my content. I love this process, and the more information I have, the more I can make up my mind and improve things in my way of working. I know not many YouTubers ask for this, but I would love to hear what I can improve in your opinion about the channel, both the main channel as well as the Also Projector channel, which is my second channel for those that don't know. This is where I upload conversations with Projector right now. As it says right here, as you can see as well. I'd love to hear feedback or advice is appreciated. I'd love to hear from you, and any feedback or advice is appreciated, but often I get comments like make video on X or Y, or just continue what you're doing and things will get better eventually. And while nice, they don't really help me. The first one is really long-term solution, and the first one is not really a long-term solution, and for the second one, I'd like to give some advice that my dad gave to me and which he got from his grandfather. Do what you've always done and you will get what you've always gotten. I love this quote, and I just wanted to include that, and that is basically the whole reason why I wrote this part. Of course, when I get those kind of messages, I just kind of put them to the side and don't really include that in like the criticism and the things that I can actually improve in my content. But it is maybe a good idea to address this kind of thing and to say to people like, don't leave these kind of comments, so that I get more of the actual feedback that I'm looking for. So I'm just going to see how that goes. Hopefully people will comment on it. Of course, people in the stream will also see it. And if this goes up on the second channel, if you're watching there, of course, you can also leave a comment with whatever I can improve of my content, because I'm just always looking to improve things. So that is also why we have the new So that's also why we have the new encoder and that kind of stuff. I guess that's the kind of stuff that you only really pick on when you start editing your streams down for content, because before, when I didn't do that, I obviously didn't really watch them. Like after I streamed, it wasn't that I was pulling up my stream to actually rewatch what I did. So yeah, just hopefully making a bunch of different improvements and just making sure that the content keeps becoming better. And that's what I want to aim for the next, I guess, couple of months. It usually takes some time to implement all of those changes and to really build up your system more and more and more. But we'll see where we'll go with that. It's a hard thing that I'm doing right now. I'm sorry, guys, if this is a little bit less... or if this is a little bit stranger sounding than my normal streams, that I'm not greeting everybody immediately. DJ Emo and Not Was, welcome. I'm trying out filming essentially for conversations with Projector. So that's this series over here. I should finish my chocolate. As you can see, there's a few videos that have gotten a little bit of traction, but it isn't spectacular yet. I just want to do this as an experiment to see if I can start an extra channel. And for those that haven't seen this channel or aren't subscribed to it, I'll post the link in the chat as well. This is where I just post, as you can see, like short 20-minute recaps of the stream, and it's just like conversations with me. So in that vein, I also have a Discord channel where people have been asking a few questions. As you can see, there's 2 of them over here that I'm going to answer. This one over here, and this thing over here about multiband compressors and stuff like that. And I just want to see where it goes if I make some dedicated content from that, I guess, when I'm like actually on stream. That is also why I'm trying that one with a little bit more full cam, so that I maybe need to look into the camera and see how that goes. I wanted to try to have the stream on, or the chat on the full cam today. So if I go here, there's no chat. As you guys can see, the chat is gone. Whereas in the other scenes, there's the chat on the bottom left. It's not in the best position right now because there's the bar over here from my windows. But if I go into Ableton, you can see that it's much better. It's much easier to see, apart from like a little thing that is over here. So maybe what I do in OBS is I can see if there's a bit of a better background. Such a wholesome guy. Thank you. I'm just trying to improve as good as I can and make the best content that I can. I just really like doing this. Especially the conversation series is just very interesting to do. But as I said, to that end, we have a channel over here in the Discord server that you can just post questions to me. So anytime I go streaming and there's a few questions in here, I'll just answer them in this kind of like filmed format. That way it's a little bit easier to edit it down and make better content out of it. It's just blocked by the camera, but you can see conversation topics right here in the stream category. And you can just put your questions in here. And today I'm going to answer these two over here. I guess I should start with this one because that's easier to explain. I also have another topic that I'll go to after this. Does any of you guys also get so hyper focused while making a track that it almost feels impossible to stop and take a break or forget or ignore basic needs like eating or drinking? Do you feel emotionally drained and after making a track it's just me? Do you also feel emotionally drained after... Sorry, the phrasing is a little bit strange here. Do you also feel emotionally drained and after making a track, or is it just me? So it's a little bit strangely worded here, but for me personally, when it comes to this kind of stuff, I have very little time to actually like make music for a whole day. I tend to when it comes to making music have like a few hours every other day, maybe like every 3 days or something like that I work on music. And that's because I'm just working on a lot of content. But I enjoy doing both. So it's not like I am like getting in the way of what I actually want to do. The main thing is that it's just hard to get like stuff done when you're working on so much content. It's a little bit more for this month because obviously I'm getting started with the conversations with Projector where I just have to build a system for that. And I'm a little bit low on numbers. That's also something that I should maybe talk about later. But how do you say this? Essentially, when I get into making music, I know that at some point I have to do other things. So I'm getting a little bit out of the flow with that. That being said, maybe once a month or something like that, I really have like a complete day off. And then sometimes if I get a good flow going, usually when I start a track, that is when it happens. And then for me, I can indeed work on the track like in 8-9 hours. And then it's not like I don't take care of myself, because as you guys know from my streams, when I'm streaming every hour and a half or so, I take a break. And that's something that I do throughout the day, even when it's when I'm just like in the flow of actually producing and I'm not worried about like that I'm streaming or something like that. I still like to take breaks. These days I also like to just go outside for like half an hour and just go for a walk. So those are the things that I do to, I guess, help me stay productive. Because at the end of the day, if you do take good care of yourself, it does translate into making better music, or in general just being better at the things that you're doing. So for me, that is the reason why I don't have these things. I really try to force myself not to have that. Drained before I started, great idea. Most of the time they stay as idea, not tracks. For me, that doesn't really happen. When it comes to, I do have some ideas. I do have some projects that I just never finish. But usually nowadays, I root those out very early on. So like after an hour, maybe I'm like, okay, this track, this idea that I had is clearly not working. Let's go back to what I was working on before, or let's go do something else. Try it again, so stuff like that. And I do save the projects. But once I get like a few hours into production, I'll usually finish that production. Just like to get more productive. Exactly. You just stay more productive if you take good care of yourself. And then in the little bit of time that you lose, you know, going outside, properly cooking, taking a shower every once in a while, and just, you know, stepping away from the computer every once in a while, that time loss that you have from that, you more than make up from it in actual efficient productivity. And that is also one of the ways that you don't feel emotionally drained, because then at the end of the night, you can really tell like, oh, I did some really good stuff. I was really productive today. It fills me with joy when I'm very productive, because it tells me that like things are going good that day for me. You know what I mean? Not that I feel sad or anything like that. That's the wrong interpretation. But being productive at the end of the day, when you're, I guess, running your own thing, when you're working for yourself, that is really nice, because then you know that it's just been a good day to be productive. Cosmic Currents, today I'm not doing feedback. That is in 2 days. So that's every Sunday. Is that command in there? It is. I don't know if it should be, because it does just bring up the information. And people can already start submitting. You can already start submitting, even though it's not Sunday. There's the channel over here that you can submit to. For some reason, I'm getting an error with YouTube over here. You can see this not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. I don't know where that's coming from. Can I send it here? Yes. This is where you can send tracks. And then on Sunday, we'll have a listen to them, and I usually comment on them and stuff like that. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is the other conversation topic that we have over here. I'll have to read this as well. Hello Projector, I've been trying my hand at music production for a year now, and I love your ultimate sidetrans video. That is the ultimate kick and bass guide over here. In the video, you tackle the concept of multiband crossover filters and what they do. I also understand that multiband compression is somewhat the same or similar. With that in mind, what's the difference between multiband crossover filters and multiband compressor? Referring to your ultimate guide to sidetrans, timestamp this. There's unfortunately no timestamp given actually here, but that doesn't really matter because I can still explain it. Do you know of any alternatives to M Dynamics MB that allow you to accomplish the same goal, i.e. Pro MB or Ozone 10 Dynamic, i.e. I'm getting there. i.e. Pro MB or Ozone 10 Dynamics. From what I understood of the explanation, we're simply separating the frequencies and gluing them back together to create a different phase for the bassline. Can this same technique be achieved inside of Pro MB or other plugins like it? Thanks again, Mr. Projector, for the amazing informative videos and the funny shorts. Thank you very much for the question here. When it comes to all of the multiband stuff, it is basically all the same process. So the plugins that I like to show for that are a few. The ones that I usually go for is something by M Dynamics or by Melda over here. So M Dynamics is by Melda. And these have very versatile crossover filters, because you can set the crossover over here, like the steepness of the crossover filters. And they also have linear phase, but that's obviously not something that you use. There's a whole bunch of different ways that you can separate it. That is worth experimenting with in the future, but it's not something that I've done yet. But essentially, when it comes to these filters, all that really matters is the crossover filter steepness. And in some cases, you can set resonances, but in this case, you can't. So in this case, it just has like a standard resonance that makes it so that the input level and the output level is the same, theoretically, if you negate the phase shift, I believe. Like, it doesn't actually increase the frequencies in volume with the way that the crossover is set up, with the steepness set up. There's like one configuration where you can have the steepness exactly match the high frequencies with the low frequencies of the crossover. And then you get like the same loudness going out of it. So what that means is, and those multiband properties kind of carry over into any plugin that you use. So if I go into a different plugin, especially because we're not doing any actual processing with these plugins, we're just doing the multiband part. If I go into M Transient MB, which is a different multiband like crossover thingy, if I go in here, you have the same thing. You can set the amount of bands here and you can mess around with that. And this is also going to be true with plugins from other brands. They're all essentially using the same type of filter in regards to the phase shift. So if I go into, say, Vitamin, which I should have over here. This list is getting too big. I have too many plugins. But this is Vitamin. Here you can also set crossover filters. And in this case, if you match the steepness with these filters to the ones that we have over here in, say, M Transient MB, if you're able to match the filter steepnesses and the frequencies, then you're going to get the same phase shift out of the two different plugins. And then the only difference that you have is the difference in processing that you can actually do on those bands. So you're referring to multiband compression, and in that case, you just open up a compressor if you want that kind of effect. But for the phase shift, one plugin over another plugin doesn't really matter. There's no big difference in that. In fact, 9 out of 10 times there's not going to be any difference in that, I would say. You can safely say that. I purchased your atmosphere, not sure how to implement them yet. Thank you. My atmosphere pack is very cool. I really like it. It's just stuff that what I would do with that is put it in here. So I have some shorter atmospheres in here in this particular track. This kind of stuff. I haven't done my long atmospheres here yet. Oh, there's a little thing happening, I guess. Still playing. But these are my longer atmospheres here. And they're like 5 keys, so you can chew them however you want if you need to. There's some cool stuff in here. I'll also check the G sharp. This track is actually in G sharp, so we might use some of this in the production later. And in terms of using that, you just put it in the track just like I'm doing with here with the atmospheres. These are just longer, right? So you can just put them in the track and maybe extend certain parts. These are nice in the break as well. Or if you have like short breaks, I think I have one over here. You can see we have like a short break from the kick and bass. It might be nice in here to put also an atmosphere in this part, which we can do later on as well. But the implementation is, the way that I would use them is just as kind of like a backing segment for that particular part. The way that you think about these ones is that they bring interest in the way of a one shot, where it's like very temporary, very shortly. Whereas the atmospheres in here, because they're a little bit longer, I'd like to think of them as a elements that can help determine the flow of the track. And I actually have a video coming out that doesn't necessarily tackle these atmospheres specifically, but they're like part of a bigger conversation that I'm going to have in that video, which is going to be in regards of one-shots, atmospheres, and effects. And I talk a little bit about all three. It's going to be a video about like forgotten elements of a sidetrance track, that kind of thing. I still need to figure out a good title and thumbnail for it, but I have it recorded, still need to edit it. But we'll have to see. But maybe that video is going to be interesting for you now that you have the atmosphere pack, and that way maybe you can implement some of the tips that I give in that video as well. Okay. I guess there's one more thing that I wanted to show. In regards to my Also Projector channel, one of the things that I want to do is maybe do one or more cooking videos, because you guys maybe remember I announced the channel on April 1st, where I did a video on my drinks. I don't have one here. I'm drinking just normal Pepsi today. But in that video I talked about the Peps, or the iced tea that I made. And it's kind of like, was like a joke on a cooking video kind of thing. For the 1st of April, for April Fool's Day, of course. But from that moment on, I thought like it would be nice to do some actual cooking videos. I'm not going to do that here in this apartment. I want to wait with the other apartment. I did go look at a cool apartment today, but it's a little bit more expensive than the other one that I have in mind. Going back to the old apartment, essentially. It was also a little bit less spacious, but a little bit more cozy. Like there was an actual nice room that would be a very nice studio. Not that the other apartment doesn't have a nice room, but that room is, in the apartment that I'm currently planning to go to, is a little bit less inviting, I should say, because that was just a normal room. Whereas the one that I went to today was, how would you say that? Like an attic almost. So it had like wooden ceiling very close to it. It would be a nightmare to maybe treat acoustically, but it looks very cozy. But it's just $150 a month more, so that's probably not worth it for now at least. And also, I had actually less space there. I think for the coming few years, I'll still be just moving from apartment to apartment, seeing what I can get. And then hopefully at some point, I can transition into maybe a more long-term renting something. Or if it goes really well with this whole music thing, I might even be able to buy a house at some point. But seeing which generation I'm from, I don't have my hopes up. Okay, I think that's everything that I wanted to talk about, to jab on about. Took roughly half an hour. I'm going to try to do this kind of thing maybe a few times. Do I want to show? Oh yeah, sorry. I guess this is the last thing that I want to show. In regards to my cooking, one of the things that I cooked today was these really nice sandwiches. So this would be like maybe fun to make a tutorial about. Because this, as you can see, it's some cheese. I had some baked chicken on there, some pancetta, and then a sauce. And here you can see me baking the chicken as well as making the sauce. I want to do a video specifically on that sauce because it's really nice. And I make it in a bunch of different variations. But currently the problem is that right here where I live in my apartment, because of the way my apartment is set up, I can maybe draw that, then I can give you guys an idea of how I live now. We basically have a box here, right, which is the whole apartment. But then there is a stairwell that kind of separates the apartment into two parts. Okay, like this. And then over here is the bathroom. And then I guess I draw it like this. There's a little bit of a storage area over here, like this. What I have now is I have the kitchen over here. We're currently sitting right here. There are windows in here into the stairwell, and then there's a glass ceiling. But there's no windows in the actual roof right here. So there's not really a lot of light in here and in here. So that's an annoying part. And then in the kitchen, I also have my bed. So I sleep right over here. And that is just so that I have like an actual studio room here, which is fully dedicated to being a studio. How did I phase align the bacon with the bread? Good question. I try to... What I like to do when it comes to these sandwiches, to this stuff. So what I like to do when it comes to these sandwiches, it is... I'd like to bake the bread itself. That is a really cool tip that I can give you. You just leave it in the pan a little bit so that it gets a little bit crusty. And in this case, because I have a lot of sauce and because there's some oil coming from the various different things that I put on there, and some liquids, and of course the cheese also melts, all of that stuff doesn't really soak into the bread. So that's a nice tip there. Other than that, I guess this is fairly simple. You just make some chicken. As you can see, I was cooking that over here, and then you put that on the bread with some cheese, pancetta, and this sauce that I would need to make a tutorial for then. But anyway, because my apartment looks like this, I of course cannot really put a camera in here because I don't really want to show my bed and that kind of stuff because it's never made and it's messy in here. Also, there's often the drying rack over here because this is also where I do my laundry. It's just very cramped. It's very annoying to film here. So I want to wait with filming that kind of stuff in the other apartment. And there I have, quality-wise, the kitchen isn't that good, the one that I'm eyeing now. It looks a little bit... old, I guess, but I asked him if he could maybe at least fix some of the few things that were really broken and that kind of stuff before I moved in, and he would be down to do that, so that would be nice. And then hopefully I can film some interesting videos in there that isn't necessarily music production. As I've said, the whole idea with the channel, with also Projector, my second channel over here, has been to move away from the purely music production tutorial kind of thing. So that's why I have, of course, the conversations with Projector videos. If this wants to load, please. There we are. And as you can see, this is just where I basically sit down on stream right now and just talk. This is kind of like almost like a podcast kind of thing, but just 20 minutes long for each episode. But I also want to start publishing maybe one or two cooking things or other things that I enjoy doing that isn't necessarily music production related. Okay, I think that's everything that I actually needed to discuss. Sorry if that was a little bit boring. It's maybe if I get better at it, I can make it more interesting during the stream as well. But I hope that this is going to get edited down into cool content for Conversations with Projector, for the Also Projector channel. I just want to see what happens if I put a little bit of more effort in there. And of course, during the stream, I get a lot of good questions from you guys, which I really enjoy. That is why I do streaming. And the fact that I can now make double the content out of that by just editing it down and posting it on a different channel is an extra bonus as well. So, let's get into this production over here. This is a production that we have looked at a while ago. I think I did stream a little bit of the production of this thing. Let me just quickly loop the whole thing. I'm not going to play the whole thing because I don't want to waste any more time. I just want to dive into it. But this is the production that revolves around, I guess, a lot of different sequence ideas and stuff like that. And this is where we filmed some videos regarding one-shots and atmospheres that I mentioned before. And what I want to do today is I want to work on this stuff over here because we have this nasty ARP, which I don't really like. This needs to be replaced, as you can hear. And the 19th, so in 2 days, I have a video coming out on bass melodies, and in that part I made this. This ARP thing is from my video on ARPs. So this is a project that I've shown many times on my channel. Bye bye, content is content, carry on with your great work. Thank you. Thanks for stopping by if you're leaving, if that's what you mean. But yeah, making content is content, so that's cool. What I want to do with this thing is I want to put it in the place of this ARP over here. So that means over there and over here as well. So we're just going to duplicate it over and see what happens if we do like this. There are some automations on here, I think. No. Perfect. We can deactivate this. I wanted to move these sequences over here then. And it is lagging a little bit already, which is not a good sign. Those can be removed. And then the bass notes over here are going to be there and there. Over here I need to add a little thing, because in the fill here I was planning on having the bass kind of continue, which is a cool trick that you can do by just having a little bit of a lower velocity bass in here that emulates still the sidechaining, but there's no kick present. And then over here it will be normal bassline again, I guess. Of course we have to delete that other thing, but we'll do that once we have it in the break too. I want to make this half the length and put that here. And then I want to put this here as well. And I'm just going to very simply transfer over the filtering that I already have on this thing over here. I believe I have some filtering and that kind of stuff. There is a sidechaining. Reverb and delay, we already have that. I can just copy over this, I think. Is this the right one? No. So this stuff has to go one lower. And then here in the patch, just because this is my preset from Psytrance Vitals Volume 1, I can just turn off the ambience over here. And hopefully that sounds better. Good way of coming back into it. Nice long pause here. And it goes in there, and then slowly it builds up over here. Here, of course, we also want to do the same bass note trick that we did over here. So we just copy this over. Want to put this here so that we get a little bit of extra boost out of that. I think this could be cool, the way that we've done it here. Let's see how it comes in from the break. We'll have to write, of course, much more on top of this. Dirty Solar Remix, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Why does that stop? I think I want this to open up more here. What could be cool to do over here is to have this go up and down. Maybe not this much, but just a little bit. For some extra movement. Oh, good, thank you. Nice to hear. Here there will be like a big vocal, something like that. Maybe even like a fake drop kind of thing. Could be cool. I don't know how much time I want to spend working on this, but I do have a cool idea now for a fill. Essentially, it's going to revolve around the idea of like a fake drop that you sometimes hear. Which, to be honest, I really don't like. But I think we can do it in a cool manner with the kick and bass filtered. Right here. So it's just going up. And the same with the kick. Which is in here somewhere. This is just a rack that I usually have in my tracks that filters kick and bass. That would be cool. Maybe it's even cool to have a delay on this then. I think a normal reverb. I don't like the reverb only being in the delayed part. It could be cool to have a little bit of reverb on here. Not like that. Just like a shimmering high frequency reverb thingy. Like that. Of course, not on the actual bass line itself. We don't want that. But we can write around this because we have the rising up thing here, which I really like. Might be cool to actually turn the delay off here. And then frequency shift into that. Hopefully in this stream I can show you how some of my ideas start from the beginning. As you can see, we're writing in a part where nothing really happens yet. Right, so this is a good way of showing how stuff works when I'm producing, I guess. I guess over here would be nicer. We'll have a big impact here. I would like to have some kind of vocal as well, but I'll need to find one. And that usually means that I need to spend a long time searching. Sorry. When it comes to vocals, it takes me a while to actually get what I'm looking for. Most of the time. Here we have a little bit of dark impact. Maybe I have a pack that can work. We'll have to check that out. That's kind of cool. And this is then where the kick and bass starts. So I would like to have like a sweeping up effect into that part as well. Which means that we need some more risers or effects at least. Laser kind of thingy. Maybe something like this in the very background here. I guess the delay is a little bit off here. I need to time that properly. It's gonna take a little bit of time. It shouldn't be too bad, to be honest. Because I can just fade it out after a while. I mean, it is already fading out, of course. It's a bit hard to see here, so I'm just gonna go like this, and that should be okay for an effect like this. There's some cool stuff in that. The music is too low against my voice. Let me push it up then. It's because this project I'm not listening to mastered music, so I need to add like 60 dB. Like this, I guess. I don't necessarily like that the high frequencies completely move away. Could be a cool idea to have double the delay on the very high frequencies here. Maybe even... That's too slow. That's cool. I like that. We want to have some kind of atmosphere. I wanted to maybe see if I can do some melodic stuff. I was hoping that maybe Omnisphere has something like a bagpipe or something like that. Just an instrument that I've never really used. Could be cool to do something with that. They don't have it. That's unfortunate. I want some squeaky kind of sound, I guess. This is it, right? There's some cool sounds in here, but I want something playable. Some strange overtones here. So many different unique sounds in here. Never really what I'm looking for. This is the kind of stuff that I would use for one-shots, but I'm looking for something that I can play a melody on. Some kind of... I was looking for like a bagpipe kind of thing. I guess we can go through the ethnic world things over here. I don't want anything plucky. And flutes are something that I've already used a lot. I have a 12-year-old PC and I'm jealous of how Omnisphere is quick on your PC. Yeah, it's very nice. What I did is I put the library that it uses on an SSD, and that is why it's a little bit faster. In the beginning it used to take a lot longer for it to load, but once I put it on the right drive, which is of course very important, it loads a lot faster. Even though my PC isn't necessarily the most powerful, it's still very nice having it load faster. And that's what you get from SSDs. SSDs? Yes, SSDs. That was very sharp. It's all either a flute or plucky stuff. Maybe some flute stuff? Could be cool to do some melody with that. I need to make sure that it glides properly here. Do we want to do like a vibrato thingy here? That's a little bit too slow, I guess. I have a hard time writing melodies. It's usually coming out decently, but it takes me a lot of trial and error to get stuff like this. Because I cannot play it in, right? Because I mean, I have a piano, but I don't know how to use it. Or the keyboard. This is actually MIDI. It works, but sometimes it's crashes a little bit. I hope that I can avoid it, but this actually... It works now. There's also the capture thing here, by the way. I can take what I just played here. Can we see if we can put this in the right key? Which it currently probably isn't. I just pushed some random buttons. But I think it's cool what I wrote here. 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's nice. It then goes down back to the root node. This goes here. I'm just putting it in a sensible spot, I guess. Of course, timing-wise, it's not yet perfect. I like the first bit of it. Here it goes a little bit off the rail, so we put it like this and have a glide here. Not up until this thing here. And then this stuff goes back on the offbeat, I guess. Let's see how this loops. It's always a good idea to see how stuff that you make loops. This could be cool, maybe even for something that repeats. Let's just see how it sounds with a delay on there. Just a simple one. I mean, that is very cool sounding. Let's see how it transitions. I guess it's time for some fills over here, some drum fills. That is always nice. Really to sell the idea of this being a fake drop over here. That could be cool. So some acoustic stuff, maybe. There's no actual drum fills in here. That's unfortunate. Short fills, I guess. This is more EDM-y kind of stuff. That sounds cool, but they used it in a different track for the album. Psytrance? Exactly, yes. That's what I do. This might be cool. So this is 130. Big reverse crash here, big reverse riser thing. It sounds like it's going into it, which is exactly what I'm looking for. I like that. Highly bass. Thank you. I have some orchestral drums in here that have good crashes for this kind of stuff. This is fun to reverse and high pass. Here. Hi, Projector. Greetings, lads and lasses. Hello, how are you doing? Welcome, Infrashell. Sorry, I should look at the name before I actually see who's commenting stuff, I guess. Oh, that's not what I want. Yeah, I guess I wanted it a little bit longer. Did I make it a lot longer? I did. As you can see here. But this should work if I then filter like this. Of course, it's sounding really rough now, so we'll smooth it out with some reverb. I'll also make this go a little higher, maybe to like 7K-ish. A lot lower, of course, and then we'll get like a very wide reverb on it. Dry wet here can turn off. I like that so far. I like that transition. I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this low pass turn around and the high pass so that it goes up instead of down. I think that that will be better. I initially had the plan of it going the other way around, but that doesn't seem to work with the current sound that we have in here. So I'm abandoning that plan and I'm moving to a more traditional, just building up kick and bass. I do have volume over here. I really want to impact more here. I like what we have, but maybe a big crash would be nice. I see also what Mind B is saying with having the delay rise up before. It may actually be cool to do it like this. Here. And then keep it the same thing. Of course, here we have to go back to 0. It's just on my end, or is the video feed a little choppy? Audio is fine. It may be. I am experimenting with new encoding, so that is definitely a reason why it could be different. For safety, I'm going to put this over here. So there may be a difference in there. I'm hoping that it's not the same connection issues as we had before, but that can also be the case, that we just have one of those connection dropouts. I do seem to have that every once in a while, but it's staying green. Like usually, so on OBS over here, I have a connection thing here that shows me the connection, and then it shows you in green the health of it. So this becomes orange if it's lacking and red if it's completely gone. And from the corner of my eye, I always keep an eye on it, but it always stays green, even though it's dropping bitrate. Again, hopefully with the new apartment, this should all be fixed in September. It's just a consequence of the way that I'm living now, I guess. So there's not really much that I can do about that. It's super choppy now, maybe try less bitrate. I should have a better bitrate right now, actually. I cannot change it in... how it's called, the actual stream, because I cannot change it now while I'm live, I think. Stream, yeah, no, this is all locked. I cannot change it. I I just need to look into it more, and I'm doing a few experiments, I guess, with the stream. It looked good before it. I did a little 6-minute test stream before, but you never know exactly how it's going to go until you do your actual, like, first proper stream with a new setup like this. Same is true for the audio, which is slightly different. So once I'll edit this video in Conversations with Projector, or this stream in Conversations with Projector, then is when I have the real results. And I'll keep doing experiments and different things to see what is better and what is worse. We're at 720p today, at least should be. So maybe that is also a difference. That should give us higher bitrate quality, but lower like pixel quality. But again, that is all temporary until I get better internet in September, which should hopefully just be fiber cable, and then every bitrate related issue should be gone. I might still have connection issues, but then there's something like completely wrong on my end, and maybe I need to update OBS or something like that, but we'll see that later. Anyway, over here, I wanted to see what this sounds like if we have it go up here in frequency earlier. Was not really an issue, was just curious. I mean, when it comes to the quality of my stream, I want to provide the best quality possible. So I'm always experimenting, and I appreciate that you guys give me feedback on this stuff. That really helps, of course. It allows me to just improve the stream more and more and more. And of course, I also go back and watch back my own stream now that I make content out of it. So I get to see myself if the quality actually increases. I'm editing 5 more streams down for Conversations with Projector as we're speaking. I've done one of the streams, the first cut. I just started earlier today actually doing that. I selected out actually the interesting bits from the stream 2 days ago. And I started making the first cuts in the actual content. So starting to put things together this morning. And I'll finalize like 1 or 2 of the videos. So that I have something for the 19th and the 21st for that channel. And then slowly I'll continue chopping through it. I can just every once in a while, if I have a little bit of extra time, I can do that. And I can actually work on that content. Anyway, let's add a few effects to this thing so that we have a little bit more of a context of the main riser here, because it feels a little bit empty. In forgotten samples, I should have a very long riser. I guess this is halfway there, where I actually want it to be, but we'll add this to it as well, just because I like to mix and match different risers like that. There should be one that is even longer in here. And you can just look at the megabytes here. That's not it. There we are. So this is a 16 bar downlifter, which is really cool. I mostly use it in reverse though for risers. Like so. Just like a slow additional riser for it. A bit of reverb is always nice on this kind of stuff. Just some white sounds here, very bright. Of course, this is just a reverb, so don't really care about this mono component of this part, because this is like a backing sound. Is having the high pass go up more is nice. Just all the way. Maybe I'll even saturate this. Here. That could be cool. Little bit of overdrive is nice. Because with the overdrive you can saturate certain frequencies and you can add an additional rising effect if you do this. So we'll have the tone go up here. We'll have the frequency go up slightly. We'll have the drive move in here from this to here. And then the dry wet will also go up here. This we can then copy over to here. A sine wave boom when the riser finishes. I don't know if I want to have a boom in here or if I just wanted to finish in nothing and then have the delay till move us in here. It might actually be cool to do a reverse boom. Like into the impact here. Right? So sub booms here in G sharp, I guess. This one is an F sharp, but we can tune that up. We just want a very short one, I guess. Don't really want the start of it. I can add my own fades to it. This is the annoyance with making sidetracks. The delays are so long that it takes like 30 seconds for any given delay to fully ring out. For risers, I usually play around with vitals, starting with white noise in a sample part and then something unique in the oscillators. Can get some really interesting effects. We can synthesize some of our own if I feel like I'm not really getting the texture that I want. That's usually when I resort to making my own risers. But I like to add progression to all of the elements, kind of like in layers, in stacks. So I won't go in here and make all of the risers at once. I won't go in here and maybe even make all of the sequences at once. Or like finalize the sequence here. Maybe I'll end up distorting this more or doing some more stuff with maybe like stereo wave, that kind of stuff. All of that is cool to do. In fact, what could be nice is to have the stereo wave of this thing increase over time. Which we can do with stereo spread. I like the inharmonic noise in Serum to make risers. We can check that out as well. There's a lot of different things that I can experiment with today. And that's the cool thing about streaming. I get to get input from you guys on what you usually do. And I get to show some stuff as well, what I usually do. So that's cool. 0.5 here. Not that it matters, because it's after the delay, actually. I guess this may have a little bit of an annoying tone towards the end here. I really want the high frequencies of this thing to come out, I guess. Is it this thing that is just so messy? Ah, because the delay is after. Yeah, okay. The delay is after the EQ. So that's why it didn't show the issues of the delay, and I guess also the reverb over here. As you can see, guys, lots of progression happening. ESP, if you mess around with changing wavetail positions, volumes, etc. of LFOs. There's some cool stuff that you can do with risers indeed, yeah. But I think for now, I'm pretty happy with the initial idea that I have here. And that is really what is important. Okay. I'm going to go for some more orchestral drums in here. I would also like a vocal shout. As I said, I want to find some good vocals, and I have one pack which may be of help here. I believe this is some kind of free pack that I got from somewhere. Maybe I paid for it as well. I don't really remember. It's been on my system for a while, but a lot of these sounds are in major. So technically I need to retune them, and that usually ends up making it sound terrible. I also need to find the right type of sound, I guess. This could be cool to try. Let me make an audio track for it. Let's see. Hopefully we can make it so that this actually fits in this idea. There's some cool stuff in that. I think if I tune it properly, we're going to get a nice sound out of that. If your track is in a minor key, you can use the relative major and you should be good. That can also be the case, but I just hard tune it to what I need it to. And this often works. It is a nice like auto-tuning effect sometimes. Sometimes it just doesn't work though. So I would need to find the relative major. I am writing not in a minor scale, but in a Frisian scale. G. So I don't know if I can do it then. But we can check in at least what the relative major is, which is B. So let's see if there's a B in here. B major. It doesn't seem to be the case. Oh, here. There's one. This could be cool. Let me just... align it properly. It needs to be way longer. Like this goes here, I guess. Oh, I got the wrong thing here. This might be a cool delay actually to use. 8 dotted. Here. Does it come with extra stuff? Vocals. Vintage box. There's some cool stuff in here. I believe this thing didn't really have a ping pong mode, right? I guess that's happening in the preset itself. There's like a nasty frequency in here though. Equalizer. High shelf, low shelf. Does this not have normal parametric EQs then? I guess it doesn't. What's this vocal pack? Sorry if I don't keep up with the chat, by the way. This is called Soul Pacifica Kit Cinematic Vocals. I don't know if I can read it, maybe in the text here. I've never seen that plugin before. It's a plugin which is, I deleted it now. It's cool because you can put stuff in the feedback chain of the delay. That's the whole gimmick of it. But I loaded it in accident. I basically want to use Echo Boy. This is my main delay nowadays. I use this all the time because it sounds gorgeous. I'm not a fan of that very strong tone though. So we're going to get that out of there. There's a very strong resonance, as you can see. Just testing some stuff out. Let's do this and this here. That sounds like a cool thing that can transition into a more high energy part of the track, I guess. So we're going to use a 2-bar fill here and then have the vocal in here instead. I use that and any reflector for most of my delay needs. Sometimes I'll go with the H delay by waves in terms of my delay. But 99% of the time I go with Echo Boy now because it has the different textures to it. And I don't even know if the full version has that capability. But you essentially have this knob over here, which is different, I guess, like changes to the frequency spectrum, and the ambient adds a little bit of like a reverb type effect, that kind of stuff. They all have different tones, they all have different uses, which means that this is a surprisingly versatile delay, and it's quick to set up. So that is what is nice about it. I would love to have another delay kind of thing like that, because in terms of reverbs, I'm pretty stacked just with M Turbo Verb alone. This can do any reverb that you really need, any reverb that you want. These are just the base presets that you have, as you can see over here. You have a whole bunch of creative kind of things. The special shimmer reverbs, it does very well. It has this 2D positioning stuff, which is sometimes really cool. But even in the preset, you of course have a lot of things that you can edit. You have extra changes to the tonality that you can imprint on every reverb. And then if you really want to dive into it, you can even set up individual reflections. But this is something that I never play with. In terms of other reverbs though, I have Black Hole, which is amazing. I have a bunch of other ones. These are actually pretty nice from the tracks or the T-Rex 5 suite, I guess. But the plugin company, I don't really like them. But their reverbs are very good. And to be honest, all of their plugins are very good. Except that they apparently crash Ableton. That's annoying. Did I miss any big things? I don't really think I did. Let me just quickly recover the set here. So it crashes your project apparently. That's very unfortunate. Maybe I installed that wrong or something like that. That never happened to me before. I'm not sure the vocals are in key or scale. I'm not sure either. Somebody said that you can use a relative major, and that's what I did. But for the G sharp minor version, I believe at least the key of the track is G sharp. Even that is maybe something that I should have checked before I started doing that. But we can check it again. It's gonna take a while, isn't it? I guess a good thing to do then, while it's recovering, is take a little bit of a break, because it's been 1.5 hours that I've been producing. So what I'm going to do is put on the mix. And the mix is actually doing very well in terms of views. That's the only channel that is really pulling ahead now in terms of views, or is really doing satisfyingly. We can show it here. There are dips, of course, but you can see the massive amounts of views that we're going to get from the mixes. So this was the second mix that was popping off. So this one did really well for us. It gained us a lot of subscribers. We need 80 more subscribers to get to the amount required for monetization. So that is our main goal. So that means that because this had ads on it, I believe that is what influences how well it does in the YouTube algorithm, because obviously a video that has ads on it performs better. So it is really nice that we're now getting a lot of traffic on the mix and that people are watching them, so that we can get to 1,000 subscribers. We're already there for the watch time requirement, which, as you can see, the mix racked up an enormous amount of watch time as well. This in general will also, from what I know about YouTube, just translate in a modest amount of money that we can actually put into the label and start doing promotions and that kind of stuff. Once we get monetized, that should hopefully get us some money that we can actually invest in this thing, so that it can start to grow even more. But yeah, if you haven't seen the mix yet, I'm going to put on a small part of it. I'm going to take a quick break. Let me see which track. I like this track over here, so I'm going to put that on. I'll also, of course, then have the ability to check the visuals while I'm taking a break. I guess it's already starting. Yes, you should check the key of the track before finding the relative major, otherwise it's going to sound like a fried chicken ass. Yeah, we'll do that after I come back once the project is restored, and then we'll continue producing. For now, I'm taking a quick break, and then we'll get back into the production side of things.
you began on this adventure of dreams, you would fulfill all your wishes, every kind of pleasure you could conceive. And then you would get more and more adventurous, and you would make further and further out gambles as to what you would dream. So in this idea then, everybody is fundamentally the ultimate reality.
Okay, we're back in this project, but I have to save it and then open it again, otherwise it won't work. There shouldn't be too many plugins that I added. Did the stream just back up? Did it crash again? Did it have issues again? I'll have to go through it. As I said, I'm using new encoding stuff, so stuff is a little bit weird right now. This one here is what I need. Sorry, I have a very scratchy nose these days because of my allergies. It is full-on allergy season here. It rained a couple of days ago, 2 days ago actually, which was nice. But yesterday and today it already cleared up again. So that means that immediately the allergies come back. I have some medication that I take for it, but obviously it doesn't fix all of my issues. So I like going outside, I like going for walks and that kind of stuff, but it tends to be the case that I cannot get to do too much of that. Because after maybe like half an hour, my eyes start to not hurt in a way, but just irritate, and I get like teary eyes and I get stuff in them. So I have to clear it out like this sometimes. There's like little I don't even know what you call it in English, but little things in there. So that isn't great, but I like to take my time to go outside every day. At least I try to take an hour and then divide that up into 2, I guess, sessions of walking around or doing something outside. If I need to go places, I'll walk there most of the time, because it's just nice to do that, right? To take care of yourself, I guess. There's a few things that doesn't seem to be the case. It seems that this is set up. Is this set up? No, so this was like a flute thing in this. It was called like, not pseudo flute. It was horror. No, I'll find it again. Psychopathic whistle is what we had here. And then we had solo on. Let me close all of this mess up. So let me check the key of the track. I believe it's in G sharp, this track, and yes it is. But it's in G sharp Frisian. Does that mean that that does not have a relative major? The relative keys of G sharp Frisian are E major, C sharp minor, and B mixolydian. Sorry, let me pull that up. The relative keys of G sharp Frisian are E minor, G sharp minor, or E major, G sharp minor, and B mixolydian, which I don't know what that is. So we want stuff in E major actually for this track, for that to work well, and we have something in B major. While I like the texture of the vocal, I'm okay with having a different vocal in here because it's not the best one. So if we can find a better one in E minor, we can even pitch some of them if we need to. This one could be cool as like a two-piece thing here. So we just pitch it up one with Complex Pro here. That is sounding cool, I like that. Let's see if there's another E flat in here somewhere, or E, or whatever it is. Even the D major I can pitch up 2 semitones if I want to, but if there's another E in here, that would probably be better in terms of tonality that you get. This is the dry version of this. Yeah, this is 07, and this is 7. So there's just one of them. There's an F major. Can try this one. I wasn't really 100% a fan of how the other one worked with the thing. Maybe just the first two. Not really energetic enough. What we're going to do is add a little bit of energy in the terms of, or in the way of orchestral drums here, I guess. So we'll get some like mid things here. These are very mid-range focused, as you can hear. These are nice because they have like 2-3 very similar textures of this one. Where's the other one? There it is. Let me make another track for that. This here. We'll add some extras on here that go well with the melody. So I'd like to see where that part of the melody is. Over here. What did I make? A MIDI track? That's not what I want. Still messing with Bitwig. I am going to be messing with Bitwig more. Yes, I'm going to be doing more streams. Today is not one of those streams that I'm looking into Bitwig. But when I have more time, because those are the streams that I really need to sit for and actually prepare for. Because I want to figure out all of the things that I want to experiment with and that I want to show beforehand, so that the stream is like nice and cohesive. At least that's usually the way that I handle it. So there's definitely going to be more streams on that, but it needs its time. And of course, I'm in no hurry to make the switch. I'm still working on an album that I actually want to finish. So I have loads of other things that I could be doing, which is what I'm doing now, for example, which is just producing some music. That's cool. I like that. That is just kind of coming in like that. My menu thingy broke. Happens all the time. If I do end up making the switch, that will just happen at some point after the album probably. Then I might just start working on one of the tracks in that way. But I don't expect that to happen anytime soon. As I said, I have no real reason to do it immediately. So I might as well take my time, see if it's really the DAW that I want to go with, if it's really the DAW for me. And if it is, then that would be nice, of course. Here in the drum loops, there is clap thingies. This is one of the things that I want to have like very much in the background coming in as well. That is going to help with the other thing that is happening here. I'm just experimenting, seeing if I feel like this is gonna work. Of course, stuff is way too loud now. Yeah, though, to switch when you have so much unfinished music in your current DAW. Yeah, that is one of the reasons why the switch would take a while. I'll always have, or at least for the next year or something like that, I'll probably have more projects. Because I already have 1 or 2 projects in the work that would probably release after the album. And then even then, I still have like high-tech projects and dark side projects that I also want to finish, but that is an even longer term project. So I'll just have to see. And I have an established workflow that I'm comfortable with. Exactly. That is very important, right? Having the workflow already in there that allows you to just get in there and get creative immediately. That is very powerful. I lowered this maybe a bit too much now since we're going down there a lot. For big reverb on these things. We'll enhance it a little bit with some rolls, some extra shiny thingies. This is where you get to really dress it up, right? So maybe some high. Maybe stuff like this as like a background detail here. Impact maybe. That is way too deep. Maybe another low one here. This, but a bit shorter, I guess. I don't know if that's exactly what I want. Maybe the dry wet could change over time because it's a little wet now. And then over this time it kind of comes in like this. Quing, how are you doing? Welcome to the stream. Nice to see you here again as well. Maybe a thing that I want to do here already is, it's kind of like a mixing thing, but you take the lower frequencies and you gate them. Zen Lion, welcome, welcome. I hope you enjoy the stream as well. Let's have a listen to what we have now, currently, again. Just so that we can get an idea again. Could it be cool to distort this slightly? Like a very shallow layer of like saturation. Let me just save before we crash again. High frequency reverb on top of that. Just on that higher saturated high end stuff. Actually, this probably here. I'm doing good. What about you? I'm doing good as well. Just having some production things today. One of the few days this week that I actually get to produce a lot. Why only 720p? I'm testing out some new quality settings. So I'm testing out a different encoder, which allows me to get better quality with a lower bitrate. But I'm also testing out if lower quality with the same bitrate is better, to see if it's easier to see stuff on the screen when there's like big changes like this. Because when it's 1080p, it actually looks very bad if I start doing stuff like this, especially if I flash it very quickly. And stuff like the feedback stream always has issues with the graphs being fairly hard to read sometimes if that happens. So I'm trying to see if that's, for now, I can mitigate this and stream in a little bit of a lower pixel quality, but have a higher bitrate relatively, until at least I get the actual, or I get the new apartment, which I'm looking right now into for September, and then I can get fibra optica, so glass fiber, and then it should be all good. Nice idea with the saturation on the flute. Thank you. I like it too. I'm going to keep it. I'm not sure still about the vocal that is in here. Maybe I need to get used to it. Maybe we need a very similar vocal over here. Or maybe this is the spot for the vocal. I'm preparing food while you produce. I hope I'm good entertainment for that. I like to think personally that I am. Guess it's not really taking the thing here, or keeping the frequencies in there. Nice little fake drop there. I like it. I guess a bit of extra stereo width here would be cool too. Just very wide bass here because we're filtering it out anyway. I don't know if I want the kick here to be stereo. I think I do. I'm gonna go -4 on this thing. And then over here, I'll temporarily also go on -4. Of course, we can't do that always, because this is part of the regular bass processing. So this needs to be exactly back at 0. Yes. I like to try and follow what you're doing without seeing what's on your screen. Personally, I like that vocal. Maybe extend the reverb till and gate the last bar of it. Okay. Here we need some more atmospheric stuff, which will happen at some point. I'll probably up the quality of this fill over here. I'm not entirely happy with it yet. But I want to see why you're saying that this last bar of the vocal isn't great. I like it. I like that it goes and it breathes in here a bit more. Could have a bit more volume here in, I guess. That's sounding cool. No, it is great. I was just adding a thought. Thank you. I do like that. I do like that people give input on the things that I'm doing. That's obviously a nice quality control for me as well, to see if people actually enjoy the changes that I'm making to parts of the track. Let's get ourselves a snare for this build up here. I guess one of these tight snares will do. These ones will be great. Instead of an audio track, I'll put this on MIDI, so that I can experiment with the pitch as well if I want to. And then here. How do you make this pitching effect? Is it the frequency shift? Yes. So there's a pitch bend and frequency shifter here. So there's a frequency shifter in this last half, and there's also a pitch bend here in this last half, which I actually want to set to 12. This way the pitching effect isn't so extreme. Instead of that very sharp crash, I'll probably lower this a lot and have this as a backing sound. And then have just a longer fill in front of it. And then I'll do the actual snare bit that I need to do here. Fills. I like jumping around from thing to thing. That's nice. Because it's just whatever comes to mind, I'll implement that. Let's align all of this mess here. There's a lot of experimentation involved, as you can see here. Maybe this moved around like so. Like this, maybe? If I'm not talking enough, I'm sorry for that. I'm just trying to experiment and see what I can find here. For this one, I want it to be quiet. This one as well here. I want this one to come on here. A little bit earlier maybe, and then have this fade out happen a little bit earlier as well. Because there's a filter there. Okay. We'll have this come in a bit earlier. There's a lot of auditioning that is happening, as you can probably tell here. Really clean kick and bass, new wavetail pack. Yes, exactly. This is using the new wavetail pack and my subshifter auto sub control patch from Psychedelic Essentials Volume 3. I'm doing some other stuff here with the note. I am changing the volume of the sub bass. I turned that down a little bit. I might end up doing that a little bit more. And of course, the wavetable has been replaced with one from the pack. So that's where the main texture is coming from. Cutting these carrots is sounding really epic. I'm glad you think that what I'm doing is helping you cut carrots better, I guess. I think I'm going to change that one fill there. It's all very trappy here. That works really well together, actually. I like that. Hey bro, can you react to my new beat? No, that's not what I'm doing today. Feedback streams are every Sunday. So you can submit already if you want to in my Discord server. Over here. And then Sunday I'll get to it when I'll get to it. And I'll listen to your track. Of course, there are some rules to it, so make sure that you read the description of that channel. But then I can listen to it and then I'll give you feedback on the track. I'm not going to sit here and do feedback on command kind of thing. I guess I can work on some one-shot stuff or maybe some sequences here. Sequences tend to be the most interesting stuff. I think I'm gonna go with over here this thing. That's what we have after this. Can you play the whole track? A lot of the track is not finished, so I'm not going to play the whole thing. What I probably want to do here actually is make this plucky here. There's probably a quick way to do that here. Not like that, with an LFO probably. Get some hardstyle steps in there, but soften them a bit. I don't think that that's what I want to do. I want to get a few synths in here with FM. Did I just open up a... We have a phase plant over here that's not doing anything. And we have a vital over here that's not doing anything. This is the one that I can delete. And the phase plant, I believe, is a residue from one of my videos, maybe. Oh, no, not even. I guess you can just do an FM setup in here. Modulators, we have some cool things over here. We can do some cool things with windows, like this stuff. I want another wavetable for an SSQ kind of thing. Hello? Wavetables is here. Okay. FM modulator. Some designer FM stuff is always cool. Not really a shape that looks particularly interesting, but we can just try a bunch of them out, I guess. I guess this kind of stuff would be interesting here. We'll get this on the main saw wave. For a starting FM tone, and then we want a sine wave contributing to that backwards. I guess sliding it a bit more, or maybe in the same direction like this. Of course, make sure that you always look for cool phase combinations. I'm probably going to go for like this one over here, that is maybe the most gritty. I like designing this stuff without actually listening to it, but sometimes you just have to listen. That's going somewhere. I like that. What we can then do is window this. That would be interesting. So we set this to the level 50% here. You get some interesting stuff like that. Cool. We're getting some gritty synths out of that. That's nice. And I want to distort that. Maybe it would be cool to have a copy of this wavetable over here. That is going to sum together and also be windowed. Not that one, this one here. With a smaller window focusing on like a different area here. Sorry, 100%. And that's going to introduce like a lower tone into it, maybe. So now we get the stable tone out of that, which is nice. Okay, cool. We'll get ourselves a ladder filter. Wait, can a ladder filter only be low pass? I think it can only be low pass. So I want a high pass on here with high Q kind of deal. that kind of thing. And then I would like an equalizer, which should be in here, like the Carve EQ thing, for some extra higher frequencies. This is a strange way of doing EQ. But we're getting what we want there. Saturator. Nice. And now we'll go out of the box for some final processing here. Mainly some EQing. Isn't Faceplant best... Sorry. Isn't Faceplant the best synth to make FM sounds? You literally have control over everything. Yes, but it takes the most amount of time. Right? You have to set everything up manually yourself, which is fairly annoying. I think I'm dropping connection again. The only difference that I've seen so far is that with the thing that I have now, it's never turning out of green. Right, with the connection thing, so I cannot even see if I have connection issues. But it looks like I do right now. Now it's back. Is it? I hope I'm back now. I don't know. I hope that you got that what I said about Faceplant. When it comes to Faceplant, it is true that it's the best for that kind of... It's crashing out again. I'm sorry, the connection issues that I have right now. God damn it. I hope that this really doesn't mess up everything. Can you guys hear me, by the way? Can you see the stream live now? Can you see it well? Because from what I can tell, it's not doing well right now. Maybe it is and there's just not enough stuff happening. Like if I move this around, it doesn't seem to actually play. So it sounds and it feels like my stream is having issues. I'll also type it in the chat so people can see. But this is very annoying that the stream quality or the bitrate is going up and down. This stuff over here, as you can see, jumps to 8,000, which is more than I have it set to. I've set it to 4,000 maximum, and then it stays there for a while, and it will drop in a little bit. It will drop back to 0 again. Maybe just telling you guys about this actually fixed the problem. But it didn't look like it. As you can see, I have 11% dropped frames, which means that, oh wow. That means that 11% of the entire stream, you guys haven't seen that. That's just terrible. It's working now, I think. But I need to know if it's always working. If has the stream been buffering before? For 11% of the stream? Is it that bad? I think I'm going to switch back to the other encoder, as this encoder is theoretically better, but it seems to be... Yeah, now it's crashing again. At least for me. You can, if the stream is still live, you can see over here, it's looking very sus in that it goes down. Maybe I just need to update OBS and that will fix everything. Oh wow. This really takes all of the mood out of streaming, doesn't it, when you have these connection issues? Because now I'm always watching it and being annoyed by the lack of quality. And I cannot sit here and just have an interesting stream, I guess. Sometimes video lags, but the sound works perfectly fine. Yeah, but I want the video to be good quality as well. I want the streaming experience to be the best experience that I can give. And that's just not possible right now. It's terrible that this happens then. It drags all of the fun out of streaming, having constant technical difficulties. Because I already need time to prepare for a stream. I need time to get in the right mood for streaming. Because it sounds like you're just sitting here and talking, but it's actually very intensive when you're speaking in a language that isn't necessarily your first language. And you're on the spot, on the fly, with nobody to play off, really. As in, like in person, you're not talking to a person, you're just talking to yourself. With nobody to play off except from what the chat sometimes says, I have to be entertaining the whole way through. At least I want to be entertaining the whole way through, all the time. Whether I'm working on production or whether I'm talking to you guys, my goal at the end of the day is whenever somebody joins the stream, I want that stream to be immediately something that they say like, hey, I can hang out here for a bit and this is interesting. And right now that's just not happening. I can also see it in my statistics. People are tuning away from the stream. The viewership is much lower than I would expect today. And this is higher than it was a little bit ago. I saw one viewer a few moments ago. So to be honest, this takes the fun out of streaming for me. And it doesn't feel like I should continue now. It's been an experiment playing with this new encoder, but I'm going to switch back to the old encoder and see if that works better, at least for the time being. And I just literally have to wait until September to get proper internet. And when I'm in the new apartment, that's the first thing that I'm going to do so that I can properly stream. It doesn't really make sense to get it here now. I have thought about it, but I don't think that they even have fiber cable here. At least from the connection that I can see in the wall, that doesn't seem to be fiber. And even then, I don't want to go through the hassle of setting up a whole subscription and then having to transfer it over in 4 months. Right? If I can minimize the amount of work that I have to do to switch between apartments, then that's a benefit. So I don't want to do it here, because then I have to unsubscribe here or transfer it to another apartment or whatever I have to do. And I just cannot be bothered, to be honest. On the other encoder, the stream was, at least from what I can tell now, was looking better in terms of connection. So I'm going to switch back to that. I'm going to update OBS once again to see if that has an influence on it. Of course, the modem I cannot change, as I said, but that's the only other issue that I can think of that is actually causing issues here. And I think that that's just it, because I notice it also sometimes with downloading. Sometimes when I'm downloading a file, it's way slower than other times. Which I just sum up to that being also the same modem issue that is causing my stream to have issues. Yeah, as I said, when this stuff happens, it really demotivates you and turns off your energy, and it just makes you want to stop. So I'm going to end the stream here. It's unfortunate that this happens, but I'm going to wish you guys goodbye. I'll quickly save the project here, and maybe I can squeeze in another stream tomorrow. If I'm feeling it, then I'll do that to compensate for... Well, I got 2.5 hours done, but if the quality of the stream isn't great, then I'll have to check again, especially because I recorded that conversations part, so I want that first part of the stream to be properly done, or to be proper quality. So if there's issues there in terms of connection and in terms of freezes and stuff like that, I may have to re-record parts of that. I may have to check that out again, but unfortunately today is not the day. I experimented with something. I was hoping that this would make it better, but it has made it worse. I'll do another test stream after this in private, where I just leave it running to see if maybe resetting the modem or something like that makes it better. But I'll have to experiment with it more. And it's just very unfortunate that this happens. This is clearly not the behavior that you want from your streaming setup. So it's just bad. And I'm sorry for that, but I need to experiment more before I actually have a solution for that. So I'm going to end it here. I'll keep experimenting with it a little bit. And I'll see you guys either tomorrow, if I feel like it, or Sunday to go back for the normal feedback stream. If nothing works, then I go back to the old encoder, and then Sunday I'll be on the old encoder when doing feedback. Anyway, that's going to be it. I hope that, at least for the most part, you enjoyed what we did today. And I hope to see you again either tomorrow or the day after.